You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens.
And we're back for a special edition of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. I am currently at the Hard Rock Cafe live with a live audience. Make some noise. Yes, it is packed. That is a real crowd. This is no special effects. This is a real crowd. None of that AI sound beats and things like that. This audience is real, and the people are real, and the gags are real, and the rulings are final. You're tuned in to judge. No, I'm sorry. It's true, though. So I'm super excited to be here for this special live recording at Hard Rock Cafe here in Center City in Philadelphia. Shout out to Hard Rock Cafe. They have a lovely cocktails and a new happy hour and so many great drinks. So many great drinks at a good rate. Shout out to our liquor sponsors, which is Philadelphia Distilling and Blue Coat. Shout out to Blue Coat. They have great drinks and just great, wonderful things. And we're super excited. I'm super excited to be doing this special edition of my lovely podcast, Ernestly Speaking. But I have brought a couple of wonderful folks here with me. My lit brothers. Having a very meaningful discussion about the food scene in Philadelphia and a lot of other things to look forward to. But also super excited because we would have not been able to do this with a lot of great partners and people that have been, with us from the very beginning of this wonderful inception, to get these incredible 4 Black queer men that's so attractive coming together to do a podcast, to create content that's not on OnlyFans. Oh, it's wonderful. It's unheard of. It's unprecedented. We got together to do meaningful things with ourselves. No shade to sex work. But, there's other work that can be done. And that's what we're doing, the other work. So I'm super excited to be a part of this. But I really want to shout out 2 other great, incredible partners who's been a part of this. Cashman & Associates. Give them a round of applause. Our wonderful friend and supporter, Nicole Cashman, and our esteemed lit sister, Michelle Conron, her entire team at Cashman Associates have been rocking with us from the very beginning and creating access and opportunity for people like us to do the things that we do. They're just incredible. And this podcast is being recorded with the support of another good friend of mine, the incredible Christopher Plant at Radio Kismet. Give them a round of applause. So for those who have listened to our special editions, the live recordings, we've had a relationship with Radio Kismet for a while. My 30th birthday party, which was like 2 years ago, we did a live recording. I think we were in Fishtown, and we did it at Radio Kismet, their previous studio. They have a new studio in University City, which is dope, and the love continues. I keep relationships. We keep relationships. People think I be out here just cutting up. I actually keep my relationships. But the ones that matter. So I'm really excited to be back with them, partnering to do this special edition recording. Now that I'm not doing it in a robe somewhere in my house, I'm doing it here in Center City. So to come from the robe to this is just awesome. And to do it with this esteemed gang, this incredible group of us. So we're going to get into these hot topics, but a little bit about us, and how did we formulate this instead of a group. This is, in no particular order, Jamarcus, first lit brother. Josh, which is also effectively known as Josh Eats Philly. Me, a bad bitch, but
Period.
And the awesome Gio. Gio's table. Dr. Gio, if you're nasty. But he actually has a doctorate, so it's not nasty. It's actually true.
That's right.
But we got together 2 years ago around this time, and we were going out in the food scene. We were going out to a lot of events, and we didn't see a lot of people like us connected. We would go to these events, and the events would be, like Sweden, just very white. And we just was like, there had to be some differences. And we wanted to get together. We had a lot in common. And, I was thinking to myself, like, we would see a lot of these influencers and people get together and they would form these super groups and they was just making money and going and doing it. And I was like, well, why? We need to do that. I was thinking about Phoebe Bridgers, who created Boy Genius, that incredible group that just won a bunch of Grammys. And yeah, round of applause to them. They do real music. But I was like, Phoebe was dope to create that super group of all those incredible women in music to come together and to just make even better music. And I thought the same with all of us. We were all, backgrounds. Like me and Jamarcus go back, okay, in Houston. We've been friends for like over 15 years. Then along the way, we met Gio. And then we ended up meeting Josh. And it just hit. We just had a lot in common. We have all these unique experiences. And we just thought, what it would be cool for us to just take over the scene. And that's what we've done for the past 2 years. We've been keeping our foots on their necks and they can't get enough of us. But it was just a great opportunity for us to unite. And we have since then have done that. We've created our opportunities. We've expanded our own platforms. My Love of Food has now let me be the editor of Eater Philly. When they thought that, there weren't any more Black food writers, which was interesting in a city like this. I just thought that the food scene should look different, and we thought the food scene should look different. And this has been my personal passion project for 5 years, and I know it's definitely have been Gio's, and I know it's definitely been Josh's in our own rights. But we came together to really do something major, and we have really made, I think, an impact. I think so. But now look where we are. We're here at Hard Rock Cafe doing a live podcast with a packed room. Who would have thought, And those are the moments that keep me going. I know it keeps us going. And here we are in this room with so many cool people. Like, we got cool merch and shit. Like, this bracelet from our good friend Laura gave us a Lip Brothers bracelet. Like, it's a thing to you all. It's dope. And, we get them books and fan mail. This is Mirbot's Fables from my good friend Kelly Mirbot. Great book. I helped be a part of it. And it's just like all of these like cool things and people seeing it, because in a city like Philadelphia, they only talk about a certain type of news and a certain type of thing that happens. And it's like always this narrative about, crime and this and that. And there's that going on in the city. But there's also a lot of cool things happening in Philadelphia as well. And we know those cool things that's happening. And so as much as I throw shade, I do throw sunlight. On a lot of things. I do. But there is things that needs to be, shaded. But there's also things that need to be spotlighted. And so I think I do both. I'm a Libra, so I'm on the scales. I'm going to give you a balance of both. And so, without further ado, let's get into this conversation, because there is lots of tea to be spilled. So before we begin into the hot topics, how's the year been going for everybody? I'm going to start with Josh. How's your year been so far?
This year has been crazy already. I feel like the month of January was like an entire year in itself. And it's been hard keeping up with things because I feel like there have been, to your point, so many opportunities, so many good things happening. But it's like trying to focus on, what really matters and just making sure that we're staying on top of like what we need to do, especially as a group together.
No, totally. I agree. I mean, Jamarcus, what have your year been like specifically?
Well, so far it's been about doing all of the work. I'm truly committing myself to what I want to do this year, being inspired by you three amazing gentlemen. And I'm really putting, my foot to the ground, my hands in the dirt, and doing the work. I want to do music, so we got a project coming.
Yeah. And, he has a project coming in March.
Yeah. April.
Oh, April now.
April 26th.
Okay, not the 29th. Good.
But the first single is due out March 29th.
Yes.
And it's going to be, it's inspired by my grandmother's passing, as you all know.
Yeah.
And it's going to be super interesting. I'm exploring some new sounds, and I'm looking to expand, do more, be more about it. You know what I mean? No longer making any more excuses about anything. So, that's what my year's about so far.
A year of no excuses. So, you, Gio, tell us.
Yeah, so Ernest loves to say, I know we all look the same age, but black don't crack, brown don't frown.
That's true.
But I am the most senior lit brother. I just turned 37 at the beginning of January.
Yes.
Like John. And so the start of the year for me is all about new beginnings and setting goals. So I'm really excited for 2024. I just told everybody that I am entering my rich uncle era. And I'm manifesting wealth in all things. So wealth in relationships, wealth in health, and just an abundance of experiences.
No, totally. And as the second oldest in the group, I'm 32, so there is a gap, but yet our faces don't have that gap in them. It's a wonderful thing when you're just being honest and drinking water sometimes and, minding your business that pays you. And so I know a lot of people's business because it pays me. That's the difference. They'd be like, you don't be minding people's your business. Well, no, the business that pays me.
That's how they get them wrinkles.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, my year has been good so far. I think so. Don't you think? I mean, it's been a good year. I think this year for me has just been really just cementing the things that I'm doing, not questioning it, not overthinking things. Just doing it, just doing the damn thing, and sitting on my no and sitting on my yeses. Like the things that I want to say yes to, I'm saying yes to. The things that I'm saying no, I mean it, and I said what I said. I have to paint the town red, but I still said what I said, and so I think that's been big to me the most is just to really be, concrete on the decisions that I make about everything that I do. I think that's been big for me specifically starting this year. Just like stuff I don't want to do, I'm just not going to do it. Just not, because I think what you hear a lot, especially at this point in my career, is like, oh, well, you don't miss this opportunity. You don't burn this bridge. I'm just like, I've been told that for like 15 years at this point. I've heard this forever. And at a certain point, you just know how to fold them. And you just pick what you want to fold. You just know, okay, that's something that's just not a good fit. And I'm at a position where I know what's not a good fit. It takes time because when you're younger, you're like, impressionable, so everybody's throwing things at you. But I'm at a point now where I kind of know what's my lane, what's good for me, and then I stick to that gut. And, sometimes you learn and you that's a lesson learned. But there's also the times where you're just like, yeah, this worked. This is why this happened. So I'm really focused on standing on business, real business, legitimate business.
That's
Right.
So let's talk about last year's food scene. What were some things that you all noticed with last year's food scene in general? We'll get into the good and the bad. But overall, what was the city's food scene? I think for me, the city's food scene and just navigating it, it was a year of, the city was feeling itself. We had these James Beard Awards. We all this national esteem. When Philly gets some national attention, you don't know how to act. We cut up. We worse than Baltimore sometimes. But it's just, we get something, everybody be going crazy. And I think last year was a year where a lot of people really did go out of, they was feeling stuff. They was doing a lot. And I think that was in many ways that was a good thing. In some ways that was not so good. We're going to get into depth with that. But overall, I think that the city was definitely showing out and showing out very loud last year with the way that some of these things were coming out. I'm thinking about good things like Bacon that really was we're going to do a whole bacon restaurant. This Black-owned restaurant wanted to just do bacon, and that was incredible. And you had some people that really took some risks, like My Lou and Rittenhouse was pretty cool. And they've been getting a lot of good press. And you got a couple of spots that, did some things that wasn't so pressed. But, I digress. But what do you think, Josh, about it? You're Joshy's Philly. You've been on the scene. You're a little nicer than me, but you've been on the scene. You've been on the scene.
Well, I agree with everything you said.
Including the you're nicer than me part?
Well, no, I'm not going to say that, but... But no, a lot of good restaurants opened last year, Bacon being one. Another thing that I noticed just as far as trends, because I feel like Philly's also a city that follows a lot of trends, we had 4 different omakase concepts open all last year. Some which were good, some which were, whatever.
A lot of sushi, y'all.
A lot of sushi, but they all ranged in prices too. We had some as cheap as $68 a person, some as high as over $300 a person. And I think you went to all of them.
I did.
Through the course of the year.
Did go to all of them.
But it's so interesting when you see things like that, where it's over the course of 1 year, 4 different concepts just all opening at the same time, all trying to do something different, but they're all kind of similar. So then when you have situations like that, how do you set yourself apart as a restaurant? So that's why I like places, kind of pivoting like Bacon. They're not trying to do anything like anybody else. It's unique, right? And it's there's no other concepts like it out there. And he had that vision to start something completely new where people aren't going to be comparing him to other places that are around.
That's true. That's 100% true. What about you, Jamarcus? We went out most of the time, and we was sitting there like the show, the color. What was it? Was it a living cover?
Yeah.
Hated it, or liked it too.
It's like a reality.
But that was our energy
I'm
when
going
we
to
go
be
out.
honest with you.
Come
the
on.
places that I hated, I do not remember them. I do not remember them.
I think
I'm going to hold you.
I do.
That's it. You remember? Okay,
But for me, it was 2023 was the year of the Seafood Tower.
yes.
There was a lot of
my
seafood.
God. So many
Seafood was
seafood
big,
towers.
baby. Lock bar, honey. Lock bar.
Yeah.
And I don't care what that man said over there, that newspaper that is racist. I don't care. I don't care what he says about it. I don't. No, seriously, I
still
don't
think
care.
about that Branzino.
I like Lock Bar. And if that makes me basic, well, whatever. You can't afford it.
Exactly.
You mad. You
Clock that
mad.
Clock that T.
You mad. I like
Clock
Lock
that
Bar. I don't care. And I have taste. And I just felt like people were just like, hey, well, not people. Sorry. One person, one critic that I'm just hoping he still has a taste palate to taste food and actually know. You know, because I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry, but I really like Lock Bar. I'm a Lock Bar stand.
was fabulous.
Lock Bar
like
stand.
I said, I still think about
That Seafood
Branzino.
Tower does not play.
Everything
Yeah.
was
Sorry.
fabulous. The Petite, Anyway.
So Seafood was a big year in Philly. And we
It was
from
a big year. for
And we
that.
grew up in
Like,
Houston, so Galveston, you know,
The Gulf
Cajun,
shrimp,
the
all
Gulf.
that.
So we was happy to see
Very.
Seafood really make a mark in Philly. Not just oysters, not just shrimp cocktails, but a full-fledged...
Not just the Rockefeller, because y'all love
Oh,
Rockefeller.
Oyster Rockefeller. Philly do like an Oyster Rockefeller.
Child, it's good, but
I like them, though.
I like a good clean with just a little bit of tobacco, a little lemon. That's
Okay.
it.
And that's
you-
kind of what Lock Bar was giving.
Yeah.
Lock Bar was
Yeah.
giving that. You know, I like
Fresh.
charbroiled oysters. They're not doing that enough in Philly, but I need charbroiled oysters.
Oh,
in
like
Philly.
Steak 48?
You know what? Yes. Another one that
Speaking
y'all
of
be
them.
playing. They be playing with Steak 48 too. Some of them. I'm like, listen.
Lord.
What, y'all just want us to all go to the Capitol? Let me stop. Go over here. Gio, what do you think? What do you like?
Well, I know
what's
Josh was being nice. We do have great sushi here.
Come on.
But you remember when we were out to eat and we got asked if we knew what sushi was. But we'll say that for
let's
later.
talk about it.
We'll say that for later.
That's a good one, actually.
We did have that experience
Yeah.
where they were asking us about, and we just...
Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
And then at the end, he had to cover that check and then be like...
Yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, you know, this was on the, oh, yeah, you didn't even know who we were when we came in here.
Yeah.
See, I'm not Keith
the
Lee,
manager
baby. I'm
told
going
me
to
y'all
be
were
mean.
VIPs.
Yeah.
I'm not
the
Keith
end.
Lee. I'm not Keith Lee. I'm going to tell you how I feel. My
Yeah.
middle name is Lee, so it's Ernestly, so that's a different type of Lee. That's not Chung Lee. That's, you know, Ernestly.
Not Chung Lee.
Owens.
Yeah, but what I'll say is that I felt like this year I really was excited by the chefs who got to really lean into their heritage and culture. So I think about Honeysuckle Provisions.
Yes.
Who they have the plantain snack cake. They do the fish hoagie on Fridays.
Oh, yes.
And I think about the two black chefs at Restaurant Alexander.
Yeah, shout out to
It is
them.
an Eastern
Yes.
European restaurant in Rittenhouse Square.
But they
And
got
you have
fried
two
chicken.
Yep, they got fried chicken, short rib.
Beignets.
It's amazing. So I love to see that this year.
Yeah, Montana, Houston, right?
Yeah,
Montana,
Houston.
Houston.
And Chef Jameer with Billy
Yes.
Cole.
Fabulous.
Chef of the year per eater, right?
They were. Yeah,
Yes.
they were our
They are
chefs of the
awesome.
year. Incredible talent, immaculate talent. And so, yeah, no, I agree with that. So what were the trends that you all loved, which y'all kind of talked about, but you can delve into the trends that you all love the most in the scene. What trends did I like a lot? I like prefixed menus. When you're a bitch on a budget, a prefixed menu is everything. A prefixed menu is beautiful. When I do dinner parties with my friends, I like a prefixed menu.
It's the best.
If I'm trying to ball out and like, you know, splurge on the girls, I like to know in my head, 75 per person. I can give a good estimate. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I love a prefix menu. I think everyone's doing that. They're keeping it clean. You know, like a good album. They curate the songs. It's not like a Chris Brown album where we got like 20 singles on it.
Child.
I want a curated album like, you know, in Adele, 12 good songs, 12
it.
bangers.
That's it.
I want a tasting menu where you got all your hits. 7-course menu, everything on there, no skips.
No fillers.
I don't want a Cheesecake Factory menu with 25,000 options. And I'm looking at it like it's Netflix, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know which one I want to get. Which one, key lime pie or key lime cookie? Like, they got 1,000 key lime options. They got 1,000, you know, or the...
Child, I don't know.
There was a restaurant I was thinking about.
Which one?
Oh, my God.
Say their names.
This is like that Shannon Sharp episode.
Say
I'm about
their
Cat
names.
Williams. All I'm saying, there's a restaurant in West Philly that I used to love.
Oh, child. I know which one.
I used to love them. The new owners are sweet,
Ooh.
but that menu has not been consistent. And it's been breaking my heart. And you know, I want to root for everybody that's Black. I do. But it's been hard because I'm looking at that menu and I'm seeing some of the, this is one of those things where you do a call in, not a call out. I just need, for those who remember the original owner, she did not play in that kitchen and in that restaurant. And I just wanted to do better. So I would say, less can be more. Less can be more, y'all. You don't got to give everybody 5,000 items on the menu if you can't cook all 5 well. Seriously, if you can cook, or if you specialize in something, like there's seafood restaurants. We talked about Lock Bar, right? Lock Bar has seafood. So if you got, they're in the same family. So you got oysters, clams, you can do that, right? But if you have a restaurant where you're serving chicken here, short rib here, fish here, burgers here, that's a lot of different things going on. And can those chefs and the people in there cook all of those things equally well?
You say they giving Cheesecake Factory?
It's giving Cheesecake Factory, except
Child.
it's not cohesive.
Child.
Because even with Cheesecake Factory, there's a little bit of cohesion.
Oh. Child.
But I want to add to
Sorry,
that.
go ahead.
No, I
Josh,
want
go
to add
be
to
nice. Go be
that.
nice, Josh. Go ahead. I want
The
some
restaurants
positivity.
that did well did the opposite of that.
You're right about
so
that.
even like a Lock Bar, to your point, all seafood. Another restaurant we went to this year that was really good was like Prime Fusion Lounge. They kept it
that was
all,
fantastic.
Yes.
exactly, all in the same theme.
They did.
The places that chose what they wanted to do and did it well were some of the best places we went to this year.
I agree with that. Like Hard Rock here, and this was no corporate, plug, but like I do like the fact that when I go to Hard Rock, people always see my list and I always put Hard Rock on there because it is a comprehensive menu. You want a burger, but you don't want chilies. You want it to be still quality, but you still want to get bang for your buck. I like that. I like
know
a
what
menu
it's
that knows
giving.
what it stays in its lane. Like I love that about Hard Rock. Like these wings, like you can't get mad at these wings. This is a good ass Cosmo.
Jamarcus, what do you think about the wings?
He likes bones.
I don't
He likes
think
bones
about
in his
it.
wings.
I like real wings.
He's a Southern girl. And
I'm sorry, but that's a chicken nugget.
it is, but it's a good ass chicken nugget.
A sauce
But you
covered chicken
said
nugget.
bone in only, right?
Bone in only.
Bone in only.
Only.
Bone in only.
True. But with the type of teeth I have, I can't be clawing into them. Sometimes I want to keep it clean. I want a clean bite. So I do like a boneless wing.
That is not a wing.
It's not a wing. What is
That's
it?
a chicken tender, a chicken nugget.
It is. But it's good though.
With some good sauce on it.
It's
though.
good sauce on it,
wing
though.
got
Good sauce,
a bone in it. Okay.
You know what? But okay. But let me say this though. Some of these people out here doing these wing dings though, and I don't want that bone either.
Yo.
Ooh, I mean,
They calling it wings, but it's not even a wing.
It's a pigeon.
not a pigeon child.
It's not even a wing. It's a what?
It's a cat leg.
You need to go do boneless. You need to do boneless.
It's a cat leg.
It's a cat leg. Okay, we're starting this off real right, aren't we? I didn't know we thought we was gonna save the ruling. The gags are real. The rulings are final.
Exactly. I wish you brought that gavel.
I should have brought my gavel. So I have a gavel that was gifted to me many years ago, and I will bring it out and hit it like the docket. Order next case. If y'all know who that is. If y'all don't know who it is, it's okay. You know who that is? Okay, good. Next case. So next case. So we all talked about our trends. Did y'all get on trends? Everybody got to talk
did.
about the trends they liked. So I guess we can start with what trends did you didn't care for?
Oh.
Go first.
Okay.
Go ahead, Gio. King George.
So I'm like halfway between Ernest and Josh. Josh is very nice.
He is.
Ernest gives a read. I tend to.
Well, he's nice publicly. He ain't nice
Yeah,
privately.
yeah.
Okay.
Josh is
Let me
probably
tell-
the shadiest of the
somebody
best
shook
of
their
us,
head,
yeah.
shook their head. Okay, so you know him. Let me tell you something about this one. When we leave the restaurant and everybody's gone, he be like, hey, and then I'll be like, see, I told you. So my rule is if If I don't like a restaurant, I'm not going to post it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. This one, he won't post he's only going to post the thing he like. So if y'all only see chips and dip and y'all wondering where the burger is, he didn't like the burger.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say it. He going to find the things he like and still spotlight it. I'm just not going to post it at all. Because I don't want you to see liability. They'd be like, my man Ernest told me about this place and it wasn't hitting like it was. I can't do it. Now, every restaurant may not have everything you like, but if the majority of things I'm not feeling, I can't. You ain't going to do that with a movie or an album. You're not going to tell a person that one single off the album is good, so you should listen to the rest of the album. That's like Drake at this point. Like, you're not going to tell people, go listen to a Drake album at this point. 2 singles, no. That's not enough when you got 18 songs on the record. Like, you got to pick one, right? So that has been with me. But, yes, I'm going to save my shade when it's my part. But you go.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So, I'm a little over these pop-up events that promise an experience that they can't deliver on.
Oh, clock that tea. Clock that tea.
Sometimes they're aligned to holidays. Sometimes they're aligned to big movies and what are supposed to be big cultural moments.
That's true.
And you see a lot of glitz and glamour on the gram, but people show up and the staff is rude. The drinks are overpriced, even though you paid a ticket to get in.
Ooh.
And everything about it is a little lackluster.
Don't drag Sparkling Pink. Don't do that.
I was trying not to give names.
Don't do that.
I hated
I
that
like the
this year.
macaroons, though.
That was cute.
Those are cute.
Yeah.
It was a vibe.
It is a vibe.
It was a vibe.
Or just having a bar that just always have decorations of holidays, but the food that they try to combine it with don't taste as good.
Yeah.
It's this place on Jewelers Row I think about that just always like having decorations. It's like the Mardi Gras one time.
And it's over the top.
It's Christmas, it's Halloween. It's pretty pictures. But that food, yes, we want real drinks because those drinks there is nasty at that place. Thank you.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
lovely, a lovely drink. Thank you. But no, there's places like bars and places that do a lot of trendy spots, and it has been annoying. Like I was Barbied out.
Mm-hmm.
I was Barbied out. And there was some good Barbie stuff. Like, I mean, the movie's cool. It's cool. But the restaurant, the theme, there was like a lot of Barbie themes. And there was some that were good. Like there was, I think it was Blondie that did like a brunch thing. That's fine. You could do brunch. But there was a lot of places that did it. Then there's now this new Taylor Swift thing, which is, you know, I have Swiftie moments and I do enjoy parts of her. But then there's times I'm like, this is overexposure and y'all are killing me. It's hard to be a Swiftie right now. It's just hard. It is really hard because it's getting annoying. And if you didn't like her already as a fan, it's like, even I'm like, okay. We wanted Reputation Taylor's version. We didn't want this new album. I need you to get the other albums that you have versions for out the way before you do this new album. A round of applause, right? Someone clapping for that. We want Reputation Taylor's version. We didn't ask for this Poets thing or whatever. I'm going to listen to it though, but I'm just saying, like, you moving the goal, like, we need to stay in order with what we're supposed to do. I didn't follow too many of the puzzles and the mystery codes to get to this point, and now they just did a 180 pivot. I'm getting tired of it. Meanwhile, we still wait on the visuals from, you know, the Renaissance. I want the Renaissance streaming. Where is the DVD for the Mrs. Carter World Tour? He feels a certain way.
I'm gagging.
He's gagging. I'm sorry. But no, the trends are a lot. I agree with you. What I'm also just, there is another restaurant. I'm going to not name the restaurant, but I'll be descriptive. You know, I did a list of essential Black-owned restaurants, and this restaurant felt snubbed. But this word snub is in my nerves. Everybody's using the word snub. Y'all been hearing this. You know, you can't compare where you don't compete. And I think a lot of times people use this snub. I'm like, but was you really in contention though? Was you really, you know, like JC said, are you in the right category? You know? But there's this restaurant empire that's growing right now. They're expanding, and I'm just like, but the first restaurant you're doing is a little rusty. So I don't know how you about to do 3-4 other restaurants. And this first one isn't necessarily that good to me. It's an old city. It's Black-owned. You know, y'all know what it is.
It's overpriced.
It's a little overpriced. Small portions. They keep saying you got to go there. I went 3 times. I tried. Trust me, I try. I do give grace. Don't believe the haters. I do give grace. Every time I went, it just wasn't good. And it wasn't even the service. Like, okay, if the service could be bad, but the food is good, I'll give and take. But when the service is not consistent and the food is not good, but you're charging crazy market rate on seafood that I know came from the freezer.
It's burned.
I know a Trader Joe's mussel when I see one.
Oh. Oh. Child. Gag order.
I hope they listen.
Y'all
gonna send it to them. But I just, it's hard. And I just can't go to that restaurant. I can't. I can't recommend it. And so that's why when y'all say to me sometimes, why you ain't go to this? I don't see you posting it. Because I didn't like it. I go to every restaurant in this city. I really do. Y'all see me. If you put the hashtag Ernest Eat on Instagram and follow that hashtag on Instagram, you will see there's over 500 restaurants. I've been in the scene since 2014. My husband and I, who's actually in the room, Mr. Johnson, as y'all know on the podcast, he's here. We've been going out to restaurants. We'll be, as a couple, 10 years next week on the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day.
Aww.
So we've gone on dates. That's our love language is food and restaurants. We can agree on those things. And so we go out to restaurants all the time. And so we've been everything. Things that have worked, things that have not worked, things that have evolved. And, the ones I like, I post. But I've gone to your faves. And they'll be like, well, have you been to this? Have you tried this? And I'm like, I have. And normally when people ask me, I just say, I have. And I don't say anything else. If I like something, y'all know I'm going to be like, oh, I did. And girl, da, 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 da. If I'm just like, I have. That's all I'm going to say. And so this publicist, bless his heart, did the whole, have you tried? I have.
Child.
So I do think that one of the things that have been a little interesting is seeing a lot of restaurants overexpand early. And, it makes me think of a black chef, an incredible black restaurant owner named Kevin Sabraga, who owned Sabraga. Remember Sabraga? Yeah. That was one of our favorite restaurants when we first was going out to restaurants. Kevin Sabraga was legendary. The Fat Ham is still one of my favorites, baby, all-time greats. He was wonderful, but expanded really fast, had a lot of buzz, had a lot of people in his ear, and he, made that restaurant Juniper Commons, which wasn't that good. And then wanted to expand. And as he was trying to expand those restaurants, the money and everything got weird and things started, shutting down and things. And so I'm worried about this particular restaurant brand because I'm like, you all are opening too many restaurants. And how you doing all that? And you got one restaurant that's kind of, I guess, doing good, but you gotta build some, some things. And so I really like some of these restaurants that some of the OGs, everybody want to be Steven Starr and Steven Starr, Empire wasn't built overnight.
True.
It took some time. Like Steven Starr got hits. Y'all be trying to play. Steven Starr got hits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hits. Stevie Wonder of the restaurant scene. He got hits. Park, Budokan, Morimoto. I mean, he just got hits for days. And I think a lot of restaurants don't understand that element of like what it means to have a restaurant, have consistency. So that's big. But yeah, what about trend that you like?
Well, I was going to say, consistency is everything. Because I'm thinking about that place in West Philly that we were talking about.
Yes.
Where it's just if you consistently put out a good product, the community will come and support you. And then if you don't do that, then the community is going to start pulling out. And then how are you going to expand on that if you don't have that base in place?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the thing. Is you can't... Ooh. Okay, I'm going to go there. So we're in this weird era of restaurant owners trying to be influencers. Oh, people. Yeah, we're gonna go there tonight. I think.
Do it.
I think that we're in this weird phase where the restaurants are starting to act like influencers. They're really they got a little too much dip on their chip. And I'm just at a point as a diner, it's getting weird. Because I'm going to have to clock it where it's I'm going on these pages and I'm seeing more pictures of you than I'm seeing of your food.
Oh.
I'm going on your page and I'm seeing selfies, I'm seeing videos, I'm seeing all this stuff that got nothing to do about the food. When you follow a restaurant's Instagram page, I want to see flyers promoting happy hours and new meat items. Clap for that. Somebody clap for that. They want that, right? I want to see new menu items. I want to see food. And for me as a food journalist, I try in my stories, I don't know if y'all know Eater, we try to embed the Instagram pages of these restaurants to help them get followers and help people see the pages. And so when I talk about a dish or a restaurant, I like to take the image to embed it so that the social can match. Some of these pages got all this other stuff on there, but nothing about the food. And so then I have to go and take the pictures myself, and I don't mind doing that, but it's like missed opportunity. If you're a restaurant, it should be about the food. You got a new chef, let us know who the new chef is. But all this other stuff is just too much. And I'm not gonna pick on the small one, but I'm gonna get on the big one that I sometimes feel like they do the most. And sometimes the shade is cute, but sometimes I'm like, it's too much. Middle Child Clubhouse, bless their heart. Their Instagram page is filled with some fun stuff. It's some cool things. They got some cool food and things, but sometimes they just be playing too much. They do, right? Somebody said that. Anybody who follow it, they be starting beefs with other restaurants.
know.
And they get into it. I'm like, we're a community. We're a community. Leave it to people like me to do that. Like, why are you doing my job? Do your job with those overpriced pancakes. They are good. But focus on that. Focus on that. Because they swear they be out here acting like they invented the BLT. The BLT is cute. But sometimes these restaurants act like they're the only ones doing it. Y'all only ones doing the BLT? It's that gentrified energy, child. They be over there in Fishtown and Northern Liberty thinking they invented food. Child. And it gets a little annoying because it's like, I know folks that make good fried chicken. I know other Black-owned restaurants that have been doing stuff like that. And I do see these restaurants come in, they try to act like they the first ones to do it and da-da-da. And I'm like, eh. So I sometimes struggle with restaurants like that, especially when they make you go up, get the card, sit down.
No instructions.
No instructions. Have me there for 30 minutes waiting. And then somebody caught who I was, like I was Keith Lee, and everybody wanted to go frantic. And it shouldn't have to be that way. I shouldn't have to be who I am to be getting good service. I just think it's just interesting. You just need to let people know where to go if you want them to actually purchase. I'm just thinking about consumerism. Like, I just think we're missing the etiquette in restaurant culture. And I know restaurants been hit hard, all that. But a lot of us have been hit hard too. And if you got people getting their asses up to go to your restaurant and spend good earned money, have your shit together. Because I think it's weird. We're in this culture where everybody complains about diners and this, being cheap, this, that, and third. But the people that really go to restaurants, they do. Like, if you're a restaurant person like me, we know we're going to tip. We tip in. We're not tipping. We 2 or up, 20% or higher, right? Exactly. We know the rules. But at the same time, you also have to provide an atmosphere and environment that matches that. And so when people talk about the places like Lock Bar, Steak 48 and all that, as a Black person, I like to go places where I do feel like there is a red carpet rollout. Exactly. Sometimes it is about the ambiance and the feeling of going there. Sometimes it really is that. You know, some people can make a good steak, but if your servers and everybody in there acting all uptight and hot, or, acting all funny, or it's one of them very, like, niche-y, we only got 7 seats. Yeah, I'm going there tonight. 7 fucking seats. And you're charging this exclusive menu that's $250 per person. And then you're expecting people to really, like, love and obsess over the place. That's a very hard thing to do in this economy. So when you get a big, massive restaurant that can fill a lot of people, and you can have a dinner party and a birthday party and a celebration, that's why people like going, because a restaurant still has to be an experience. Because if it's just about the food, then we could just do caviar. We could just order caviar. We could order Uber Eats, because I could do that. But when I go to a restaurant, like, I would say, honestly, 75% of the experience is the actual experience.
Exactly.
I walk away about how I feel rather than the food. Because if I feel like the service was crappy, I forget about the food. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that steak was good, but I don't like the way they served it. I don't like the way they talked to us. Exactly. Like that sushi place we went to.
Yeah.
Where the person asked us, like, that lingered with me.
It did.
This person asked me about sushi. They asked me about this, like, we didn't left a bad taste. And mind you, the food was good, but, like, I still don't remember the food. I just remember how stupid the service was.
Well, let's talk about it. Yeah. So we order a sushi boat. He's like, do you know what sushi is? And we're like, yes. Just so you know, sushi is raw fish. Do you guys like raw fish? It was like, what is happening right now? Are we in the Twilight Zone?
I wasn't trying to be ignorant, so I just...
But it was just so awkward.
This one right here, listen, let me tell you about Jamarcus. He's the type that will tell you, he'll go somewhere, he'll be like, when we used to go to, I used to be in college at Penn, we go to some of the campus parties, he's telling them, I don't go here. And what that means is, if you get out of pocket, I will beat your ass and then I will go back home. I was the one who had to be mindful about what I was doing because I was still on campus. He would be like, I don't go here. He'd be like, oh, that one right there. Go here.
I don't go here. I'm just going to party.
Yeah, I'm here for the party. So there's a cultural mindset. And I think that it was interesting because he was just like, the server was just asking us, was like, this is like an omakase spot. Like, we know
it's a sushi restaurant.
It's
like,
a
we
sushi
walked
restaurant.
in. Like,
it wasn't like we was at like, Cheesecake Factory getting sushi. I don't know if they have that on the menu.
or even like,
They probably do.
or even like, let's say we walked into Ocean Prime, which has like other stuff on the menu plus sushi.
Ocean
it
Prime
wasn't nothing like that.
Ocean Prime do have sushi. That is
Right,
true.
right. But no, we were in a sushi restaurant ordering a sushi boat.
That's
and then
right.
they're like, well, do you know what sushi is? Do you guys even like raw fish? And then we just are looking at this
I
person.
started to ask him, do you know what these hands are? Do you know what hands are? Do you know what hands are? They could be put on you. Anyway, child, let me stop. The South Side. Anyway.
But I will say with this year, service has definitely been a big thing where it's like, you go to a place and you get amazing service, it sticks with you. You know, like you were saying. And then when you get bad service, that's what you're thinking about. Like the food at that sushi restaurant actually wasn't bad, but we all are still thinking about how we were served.
And, I understand what it means to be someone who works with the public in food service.
Absolutely.
I've had a job
Oh, yes,
like that.
absolutely. Yes.
So I've made some people's day by giving good service. I've made some people's days hell for giving bad service. So I ain't no angel, but I know what it means to be on both sides of the spectrum. So, I understand. Yeah. So that's why I treat all servers with respect. You know what I mean? They're people.
Yeah. I do.
But when I come into your restaurant and I got to wait 25 minutes before I get acknowledged.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's a problem.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird because we're there, we'll go to these restaurants and we're sitting there looking like, I'm confused, what's going on? Why are people here don't know what's going on? Why is it so awkward? When you see certain crews and crowds, you go to these restaurants and it's this weirdness, it's this weird vibe that you get where it is this, you can walk and feel the energy at certain restaurants. You can tell a restaurant that's really feeling itself, that's overrated. And there's a lot of overrated restaurants in Philly. Am I going to name them? Y'all want me to clock that tea? Oh,
clock that tea.
The big thing for me has been restaurants that are really like aggressively not compromising on their allergies and restrictions. That has been a big thing I've seen lately where they're like, this is what's on the menu and that's it. And I get to some extent, if you are doing a tasting menu, there can be some alterations based on certain dietary restrictions. But one of the things we've been big with at Eater has been considering people's things. So we just did a list recently about gluten-free options because because gluten-free, listen, that's a thing. That's a real thing. People, there are people who have celiac disease and it matters. And so I just think it's interesting because, we talk about accessibility and affordability and things like that. That's part of it is restaurants that acknowledge that. And so when people do come after some of the chain restaurants or some of the restaurants that got bigger scale, some of the reasons why people are going to those restaurants because they can actually eat that food. I'm fortunate enough not to have any major dietary restrictions. I tell people I'm allergic to ketchup and mustard. I just don't really like, I'm not. I just don't like condiments on food. I mean, I'm from Texas, so like where I'm from with steak, you don't need to put steak sauce on steak. If you have to put A1 sauce on your steak or ketchup on your steak like Trump does, it's disgusting. But like, if you have to do that, is the steak good? The steak, if you at a steakhouse, we have to do that, then that means the steak is not good. It should be marinated to perfection and seasoned in a way that should be good. And it's funny because a lot of people I know, this is so random. I went on I've gone out and people will get their steaks like well done, and then it will get steak sauce. I'm like, well, you need the steak sauce because you're eating a puck. So like, if you're eating a hockey puck, of course you need to have it. Maybe if you actually had it, medium well, medium or whatnot, then you wouldn't have to worry because then you wouldn't need the sauce because, the flavor will be enough. That's just my take. But, I do think dietary restrictions and just considering people's various diet things. Now, I will say though, no shade to my vegans, but come on. Sometimes people go to restaurants and they be like, well, is the butter vegan? Listen.
You know damn well.
No, it be some interesting request. I've seen some people give some people hell at these restaurants. Will say though that Philly has expanded their vegan options.
Absolutely.
There has been an expansion of vegan options, and there has been restaurants that have done it. And I will also say this too: restaurants have done a good job creating a temperance menu for drinks, like non-alcoholic cocktails. That has definitely expanded. Even though that's not my life, I do support it.
What I was going to say when we're talking about highlights of what's going on in the food scene, there have been so many good craft cocktail concepts coming up. So many good craft cocktails kind of everywhere in the city. And mocktails too, to your point.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Everybody has been making their own mocktails. Mm-hmm. And no shade, but some of these mocktail menus, those drinks be looking better than alcohol menus. And what I will do is I will get the mocktail and then put my gin in it. Yep. I say, I like this cocktail. Can you get me a shot? I want a shot of this, and I'm going to do my own stir. And so I will it's like a chaser for me. But like I like some of the mocktails, we've done
this is cute for a non-alcoholic. Yes. It's just missing vodka.
And we've gone out a couple times and I will get the mocktails. I don't know if it's cheaper that way. I don't know. Somebody needs to do a price comparison.
Right, when we went to a Hook and Ladder, the place.
Yes.
The mocktail there looked better than the cocktail. So we're like, we'll take that with a shot.
We did. We got the non-alcoholic drink.
Yep.
And but also too, like certain chefs, like when they make their cocktails, not everybody can be bartender Barry, which I get. But when you have certain cocktails that you make and you make your drinks, it is interesting that some of them have a particular, the bartender has a mindset for what kind of cocktail they want to make, and they have a vision. And sometimes it's stronger or lighter, but the mocktail situation, these mocktails, don't sleep on these mocktails.
And there's full mocktail bars now.
There's full mocktail bars?
Yeah, the Volstead.
Yeah, that's in Manioc, right?
The Volstead,
and then
yes.
Bloomsday actually is a wine bar, but they have kombucha and other things.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
I know.
Yeah. But
spooky.
That's a good point, though.
But yeah, the culture has changed.
No, the culture has definitely changed around it. I also want to move to desserts because desserts have been hit or miss in this city. Some of y'all what is it with Philly can't do tacos and Philly cannot do, I'm sorry, it's just true. Now, there's a couple beer taco spots that are really good, but Philly and tacos, I'm from Texas, so you have to bear with me on my expectations. The hot dogs, y'all not doing anything with these hot dogs. I get it. I get hot dogs. They're like a dying breed at this point. Hot dogs has been hard to find. Tacos has not been that many. Now, Halo, I went there. I did like them.
Super foil.
Foley.
Yeah.
Foley.
They had that sausage.
That was a very
phenomenal.
good sausage.
Yeah.
That was a very spicy sausage that was cut up in these little chops. That was really good.
Excellent.
And that's why I remember because it's not that many hot dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, all this talk
that's
about
the
hot
only
dogs
good
made me
thing
think
on
about that
the
Drake
menu.
leak. My God. But moving on, Josh, go ahead. If you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, you didn't. It's fine. It's a live recording, so you'll catch it. Josh.
They're going to ban me from that.
But no, yes, Hilo Taco is very good. That's right in Center City.
But that's only a few, right?
Yeah, and I think also with Philly tacos, you have a whole mix where you have kind of the fusion tacos, for lack of better words, where it's like either Americanized or they have like a different mix to it. And they're not even trying to be like authentic, like Mexican or like Texas tacos or whatever. You also have kind of like the Cali, like the Baja taco situations in Philly as well. Like something like Local Pez up in Fishtown, where they're trying to just do kind of more of a California style taco.
They need to be arrested.
Oh, yes. I do. So I knew because when I looked at you, your face you share your thoughts.
I had Local Pez before through DoorDash, and I was not impressed.
You was not impressed with Local Pez?
No. At all. Didn't we go there for happy hour one time?
We did.
Yeah.
That's why I was trying to. When you said,
That's
I was
what
like,
it was.
it was Loco, and it was
The margaritas were okay.
Oh, the drinks are good, yeah.
Loco was not the peasing. It was not peasing.
It wasn't.
It was Loco though.
Great atmosphere.
Those prices were Loco. So, to your point about that, the fusion thing has been a little annoying for me. I have a love-hate relationship with this fusion thing. I feel like when I hear a restaurant doing a fusion, I often say, okay, it's white people that don't know how to cook the original, so then they try to make their own spin on it because they don't know how to do the original, so they will fuse it with something else. And I'm just like, well, can we just do the original? Like, I don't need the fusion. And it's hard to find the original, like all these like combined fused restaurants. And some of it is good, and then some of it I'm just like, I don't know a name. I just know it's a pattern. I can't think of one fusion restaurant because I feel like everybody's doing fusion.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
It's a lot of pollution in this fusion.
La Chinesca.
La Chinesca,
La
yeah.
Chinesca, yeah.
They're doing, Asian, Mexican
You don't like that?
fusion?
She don't like that back there.
No, it's not good.
It's not good?
Oh.
Well, I mean, listen.
It's hit or
honestly,
miss.
I haven't
It's hit or
been,
miss.
so
Well, it's
I
been looking
have-
like it's missing over
Yeah.
here.
I have one
The crowd
thing.
is looking like they're not
Right.
feeling it.
No.
I have
She's
one
moving her
thing.
hand. These are two different.
Yeah.
These are
Okay.
black women and they're voters. These are undecided
Right,
voters.
like, well.
I want to know from the population that votes. Okay, shameless plug because shameless plug, shade here. I'm tired of these media outlets interviewing undecided voters that don't even register to vote. You're not an undecided voter if you're not registered to vote. You're not a voter at all. You don't matter. So I'm hearing from public people in this audience, women voters out here that are saying that they're not feeling that restaurant. Drink she likes. You, how you feel? They listening. This is consumer
Interesting.
alert. These are women. These are black female professionals, women professionals
My girls
that are
are
spending their
clocking the
money
ticket.
in the restaurant scene are not impressed.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, so they're not Asian and Mexican, but they're doing an Asian Mexican fusion restaurant. Got it. And the point was made. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's very tough out here. There's a lot of people got a lot of money to invest. But what are you investing in?
One thing I will say about that restaurant, I haven't been, but I saw some of the tacos like $20 for 3 tacos, right?
Tacos
like over
don't-
$20 for tacos. And when I saw that, I was like, well, yeah.
And I thought Chipotle was wilding. Like,
Okay, but there is one taco place I would like to spotlight, and that is by our guy Steven Starr. What's that? What's his-
Elvez.
ooh, Elemento, baby.
Elemento.
Yes. Justice for somebody
chef
clap,
is
who
from
clapping over there
Dallas.
clap for
Yeah.
Elemento. That's a good time.
And really good
Give them
drinks,
their
too.
tins.
Give them their tins.
The
Take
tacos
away
are
2, they
always
8, they
fresh.
win. Get it? Get it? Take away. Mm-hmm. No, I do like Elemento. That is a
Elemento.
vibe. And R.I.P. to Distrito. Y'all remember Distrito? Ooh,
man.
Distrito, baby. That was my spot.
Little did we know.
Garza's. What we gonna do?
Remember that last time we had that last lunch there?
Oh my God, that final lunch at
Wow.
the Distrito was magical.
Damn.
Distrito is a good one. See the good and that Garza's. You see what they do? We don't want you see what they do? Garza's tacos. Distrito. You see? They won't let the good stuff last. They won't. We missing. See, make tacos made by those communities great again. I don't want to see you all messing up these like that's what I'm saying. Like that Distrito is a
My only complaint about Distrito is that they messed up. I don't know what was their problem with the pico de gallo. That was just chopped up onions and fucking tomatoes.
That's true. The pico de gallo wasn't picoing
That was a
enough.
disaster.
It was not. But it was good though overall. I did enjoy it overall compared to what we have left now. Elemento was very good though. I do like Elemento. They do their own fusion with different tacos, but there's a vibe there and the audience there. And
chicharrón?
it's a vibe. Oh,
And
what'd
the
you say?
service was amazing there,
And
too.
the service was phenomenal. And that's the thing
Phenomenal
too. When you have a
service.
restaurant with good service, you just you remember it because you remember how you felt when you walk out of a place. It's how you feel. And I think that's what's missing from some of these, avant-garde restaurants, mystery location, pop-up spots. It's giving hookup, like it's a dating app. Pull up. Pull up and get this tasting menu.
Grinder, BGC.
BGC.
I want you to pull up and get this tasting menu. 7 courses.
You get 30 minutes.
30 minutes, in and out. 90 minutes, you only got 90 minutes to eat here. No, there's restaurants that be putting timers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. 90-minute tasting.
That is one thing I do not like.
But
Like, why you timing me?
Like, because it's not good service.
it's not good service when you running people the fuck
When I
out.
go to the restaurant, they be like, bitch, you got 90 minutes before you got to get up out of here. I be like, excuse me.
And you got these courses, and I'm trying to savor the moment. I can't even have a conversation.
I can't clock the tea with my friend. I can't get more drinks with my friend. Like,
What if I'm trying to buy drinks? You missing out on the bill. Hell, the food, listen, that's what gets me wrong with these tasting menu people. If I know how much the food costs on the front, then I already know what I want to do with drinks. I want a portion. I want to have rounds. I want to have a wine with this steak. But if you forcing me out, then you already told me that the only thing you care about is me buying a tasting menu.
exactly.
That's something I have noticed with these restaurants, though, because I'm like, people also go to eat to drink too. They want a whole experience. And that trend around pop-ups, yeah, we got to stop with all these pop-ups, y'all. I'm sick of it. I am really sick of it. These pop-ups, you know what I like, though, that I do like that's not pop-up? I do like restaurant collaborations.
Yes.
Love that.
I do like the chefs coming in people's restaurant cooking better than the chef sometimes.
Oh,
It's true. It's true.
I'm like, why you don't have this restaurant? Why he's still here? No, and some of these restaurants have done it now. You know, it started a couple years ago because two people did it well, and I got to give them their gots. Jose Garza's did the incubator program, chef in residency, and now I see the art museum is doing it, but he has been doing it consistently at Vauvert, and you know. That was phenomenal because it exposed me to other chefs. And these are all diverse chefs. Like you got Jennifer Lynn Zavala, who does Juana Tamale, great restaurant, great Birra Tacos. Y'all hear the last name I said. And the tacos. Just making a point here. You know, Dame DeMarco, who owns now Gas and Main.
gagged in Maine.
Gagged in
in
Maine.
Maine.
Had me gagged in Maine. The restaurant, good food. I was gagged in Maine. But Gas in Maine was a restaurant that they own, and now they're getting nominated for a James Beard Award. But they were there at this residency program, and so Garza's did that, which was incredible. Another person who's done it is the Lucky Well, Chad Rosenthal, who has the Lucky Well Incubator in Spring Garden. So my good friends, Joe, Dr. Parks, who's here, we went with Mr. Johnson, and we had a nice, 4 of us went there for dinner. And let me tell you something. The 4 of us went, it was like a couples dinner. And I don't really do that many couples dinners. I'm not with the straights that much. But like when I do, I go. I know my good friend Monica's here. Yeah, she's here. Okay. The straights. She laughs at me when I say the straights. Because y'all say the gays all the time. But then when I say the straights, y'all feel some type of way. The straights.
Them damn
We're going to say that, you know,
heterosexuals.
because they always say the gays. The gay community. The gays are just none of
They
the
be
straights. The
doing too much.
straights. Because y'all are really a breed of your own. I go... Okay. But no, we went there to Lucky Well Incubator and it was incredible. And you have 4 different people with different types of dietary interests. You know, one is very from Baltimore, you know, he's very picky about what he likes. My homegirl, you know, Amanda, she's very particular about what she like. If she don't like something, she gonna let you know. She gonna give a critique. She's very critical. The research in her, she's gonna be like, you know, this is a little too salty. Something like this to me. She's very like that. Her, you know, her fiance Joe's very, it was slamming. And then, you know, Barry is very particular about what he eats too. He's a critic. Very, very quiet Aquarius, but very soft spoken. But when he don't like something, I'm like, you don't like it? You don't like it? Well, he'd be like, So it's very hard. That's why I don't really go out too much. Like we go on date nights, but I go with the liberals because they always find something like the Golden Girls. You know, I don't know. Who's blank? Well, we know who. Y'all know who this is. You know, Y'all know who this is. Betty. This Betty White right here. I might be Blanche, and then y'all know who this is. She the grandma, not the grandma, but you know,
Sophia. Sophia.
This is definitely Betty White's character.
Rose.
And y'all know who that is.
Dorothy
right here. Feisty. And if it was Sex in the City, you know our characters. I'm clearly the girl who doesn't like none of the girls. That's Samantha. Charlotte. Cynthia Nixon's character,
Miranda.
Miranda, and then you know who I am.
Hey, Carrie.
That's right.
Carrie.
Hey, Miss Bradshaw.
Carrie, Miss Bradshaw, baby.
Bradshaw.
So you know we you know, we're Destiny's Child, but all of us can sing lead, like Beyonce said. We all sing lead. We all sing lead. We can all sing lead now.
Kelly said that.
Yeah, Kelly said we can all sing lead. We can all sing lead now. But no, I mean, Lucky Bowl Incubator was incredible, still incredible. They got a new lineup of chefs in residency that's going to be there. What I love about that restaurant is they got 4 different chefs, all from different backgrounds, walks of life, and experiences that are cooking different food. You got Vietnamese food, you got Italian food that's cooked by Italian, Vietnamese people, tacos made by people that's lining next. Like they got barbecue in there that's really good. And that's another thing. Let me say this real quick. Barbecue in Philadelphia is hard to find. Yeah. Now, my brother, who's also here, my family's all over the place, he likes a place from Steven Starr called Fatu Sal. He loves them down. He loves their barbecue. He's from Texas, from Houston. He likes their barbecue. I judge a barbecue place based on brisket. If you have good brisket, then that's how I know. Ribs are very, you know, people can get away with ribs. You can go somewhere where the ribs could be good, but then everything else is not. Mm-hmm. But I feel like brisket tells me something. If you know how to smoke a brisket, season it, then I know that whatever you're doing to make that taste good and tender is what you're doing with all your meats, and so it's good to go. But everything else,
if it hasn't been smoked,
you can't tell if it hasn't been smoked. It should have a smell.
It should have a ring, the smoke ring.
Yeah.
Ooh,
The color.
Yeah.
Look at you, a smoke ring.
Big Bitch Chronicles.
So if you go in a tradesman, you don't see that smoke ring. You know why?
Well.
You got them smoke rings.
It's just true. Baby Blues Barbecue didn't have a smoke ring. R.I.P. R.I.P. Now, I do like the other. What's that one over there in Northwest? It's like 4 word. What is it? Y'all know it. Not Luke's. What is it? Deeks. Yes. Mm-hmm. Deeks is good.
It is.
Deeks is good. Deeks is good. Somebody over here said, and so. Well, you're from Kansas, so cut it out. So, moving along. Yeah. Well, no, Kansas-style barbecue has their own thing. You know, Kansas City. Well, that's why. Don't be a snob. Don't be elitist. Okay? That is, we're not going to be food elitist here, says the food critic. No.
Well.
It's true. But no, I you know, Deeks is good. It's Philly good.
Okay.
You know how they say Philly famous? It's Philly famous. They Philly famous. They Philly good. It's Philly good. It's good for Philly. It's not national. Some of these people that make good barbecue in Philly, they get cocky. You know, we should be on Good Morning America. Now pipe down. Okay? You could be on Good Day Philly with Alex Holly.
For right now.
You know, Alex gonna eat that. You know, she's from Dallas too. You know, she's from Texas. She's from Dallas.
Yeah.
You know, Alex, you know how she do. She'll you know, do the little smile with the food, but she's not gonna eat it on camera. You get a gold point if you can find a picture of Alex Holly eating the food that she takes pictures with. That's not shade. It's just a fact. Now, we know the other one, Mike, he gonna eat. He gonna eat. And he gonna go on a date with a black woman, and he gonna have a good old time. These are facts. Why are you laughing? But you know, I'm just saying, so you can tell they be taking a picture of the food. Big old slice of pizza. Where is the bite? Did you eat it?
Where is it?
And I'm just gonna say that sometimes your favorite influencers go to these events, y'all. We're going to talk about influencers. We're going to take a moment to talk about influencers. Oh, we got quiet.
They're trying to get the tea.
They are trying to get the tea. I think, so as a food journalist and somebody who's been in the scene, one of the things that has been really interesting about the food influencer scene is a lack of diversity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lack of diversity. One of the big things that has been important to Lip Brothers is that we have really been big on not just making this about ourselves, but we've been trying to change the culture. In November, Josh had the wonderful idea and brought us along to do a Black influencers mixer at a Black-owned restaurant that was a super success. We brought people from the tri-state area because, you know, ain't that many Black people in Philly to do it. So we brought Delaware out, Jersey out, and we brought the Gold Gang. We had a packed room of all these incredible Black influencers to be able to be a part of these conversations and be a part of this movement. We're doing another one later on this month. And if you are an influencer, somebody in the scene, you want to go, hit us up at the end. And it's going to be at a fun Black-owned restaurant that is going to be in South Philly. Y'all know which one it is, Bacon, yeah. And so we love them so much. And so what we've noticed in the scene has been, I always say a scene is full of Emma Stones. You know, you go in there and it's the same. I'm just going to perform. I'm not even going to say names. So guys, we went to this cool restaurant down in Center City. It is an Indian spot that have really good food. The chicken tikka masala was a little too spicy, but the naan was really smooth and good. They had balsamic rice, and I didn't know what the difference between balsamic rice and sushi rice, but it was really fun. Yeah, it was a really good place. Check it out. See ya. If you know culture, you understand you get what I'm saying here. Okay, I'm gonna do another one.
Oh, Lord.
So we're in Chinatown and we had this really cool place. There was a lot of cool, interesting food things. There were different sushis, but some of them were not in actual rice rolls. But it was like really weird. It was like a raw sushi that was on some type of rice, but it wasn't inside. But it was kind of good. There was no soy sauce for this dish or whatever, but I just still thought it was a really great food. But anyway, it was a good time. Bye, Kate. Thanks. This is what happens when you do not diversify the influencer scene. They're not going to ask that girl, does she know what sushi is? But they're going to ask us, though. Thank you. That's a problem. That's a problem. And we don't see enough Black and brown influencers out there. There's some really great ones that y'all know, like Josh Eats Philly and Gio's Table and, Fueled on Philly and It's Sean and all these great ones that have been consistently doing that work. But it's so many people who are not getting these opportunities and this exposure to really accurately, influence the scene. Mm-hmm. And they're becoming rare to find. And so I've made it a point that when you look at my post and I tag influencers, I tag a lot of Black and brown influencers in the food scene so you can follow them. I give them leads on things. I have told restaurants and PR people, if I'm not seeing a certain person that should be in the room, I have said, this person is really good. They're doing incredible work. They should be here. And we've all have done that. And I think what we've realized is that when we came in this, it was only just us. And now we're seeing improvement. But it has been interesting to see it. I mean, the bout followers, like you got 50,000 plus thousand followers, but you only getting 5 comments on your posts. Ooh. People are buying, engagement. I think what has been interesting in the scene, being in the scene for a couple years, is just recognizing how it's become very manufactured. And and consumers know it. Like diners know it, right? You all know it. You go to these restaurants, you know it, right? Because you go to an event and it's cool like to go to a certain event and you see it. But it's this weird thing where it will be the same people going to a restaurant and it's like that industry plant thing y'all say. Some of these restaurants be industry plants. But you're not seeing the intimacy. You're not seeing people do the sit-down dinner. Like one of the things I've been really big on lately is that I go to a couple events, but that's not all I'm doing. I want to sit down. Y'all see my content. Mm-hmm. That shit is good. Like you go, you see plates, you all up in it with me. You like, okay, what's that on the plate? Oh, okay, that look good. Okay, what's that? Because that's what you all want to see. You all want to see the real thing. You don't want to see a couple of finger food bites. You don't want to see just a couple of people being cute and sipping on drinks and then doing this little overview, but they can't even tell you what the food is. They don't know how to pronounce the ingredients. I can't tell you how many times I would see certain influencers, say stuff like, this is ceviche. Ceviche. You mean ceviche?
Ciao.
This is tartare. Beef tartare? It's the lack of actual education. We talk about media literacy. Culinary literacy is a dying art. Like, how are you a food influencer and you don't know what the hell is on this menu? You don't know what French food is. Steak frites. You like frites. What is this steak frit? What is that? You know what frites are? But you over here sitting at a table next to me at the same event? That to bust my ass for 5 years to get the respect to get in and you're just in here. Mm-hmm. And these restaurants, they know it. They get annoyed because these people come, they don't tip, they don't know who the owners are.
Right.
they don't have manners. And it's gotten really bad in certain respects. What are your thoughts as, the influencer?
Yeah. No, I agree with a lot of the things that you were saying. I think the issue that we're having in the market in Philly, and this is probably something national, is there's so many people that have seen what we've been doing for years, and then they want what we have or what we've grown and like what's taken us years to create. Because, for me, I remember 5-6 years ago, I reached out to you and I was like, hey, let's get dinner. And we started going to places. We were paying, we were doing things. Same with you, Gio. Like we were doing this for years, like before the pandemic, before the last, couple of years. And then people have seen what we've done, seen what we've grown over the course of time, the food that we've spent money on, the places that we've decided to feature because we like them. And then they're like, I can do that better than you. They'll buy followers, they'll buy engagement, and then get into the room right next to you.
You said they buying it?
They are.
They're buying it. Payola.
And it's but the thing when you think about it, and the sad thing is,
buying album of the year.
They are. Well, the thing is, when you think about it from their perspective, they're like, okay, I will spend XYZ amount of money to get followers and engagement. After I get 10 free meals, it pays for itself. And that's the problem. So for us, we were paying for food for years. Like
coming out of our pockets, baby.
Out of our pockets. We were growing our audience. We were finding an audience. We were communicating with people. Because when we didn't start to become influencers. We found an audience, or actually an audience found us because they liked what we were doing.
That's right.
They liked who we were, and they liked the diversity we were bringing to the table.
Yes.
And then other people are just like, I see what they're doing. I can do that better, faster, whatever. So I think the issue that we're seeing in the market right now, and this is a 2024 thing, I think restaurants are going to be like, I don't know who I can trust anymore.
True. It's all kinds getting counterfeit.
It's all counterfeit. I mean, it's not all, sorry, but there's so much of it. And it's like, I think we're going to see almost a post-influencer era within the city, either this year or next year. It's coming. And it's just because you see so much fake stuff out there that it's like you don't know who you can trust. So now people like us that have been in it for years, we have proved ourselves to the community. And I think that's why we're always going to have that trust factor.
And we also have other things we do outside of this.
For sure.
I want to say this, we're seeing this era of what I call the Desperate Housewives era. We see all these women that live in the suburbs, these older white women that live in the suburbs, bored, they got nothing to do. They want to just become influencers overnight and reinvent themselves and go to parties and pay their way and try to be an influencer. And it's like, no, that's not the world. That's not how this works. You just can't buy your way in this. You need to, they look at it like a socialite thing, like a Real Housewives of Philadelphia or mainline culture, and that's coming into the real actual work that we're trying to do to amplify restaurants, support small businesses, give a platform to these industries that are struggling during these hard financial times, giving consumers actual legitimate options to do what they want to do with their money. There's a real true value to what it is, but when it gets convoluted by a lot of silliness, it does get a little annoying. I mean, there's just certain people out here, you'd be surprised with some of these influencers. They be feeling themselves, getting in the DMs of these restaurants, asking for whole shakedowns. Right. Oh, I want to bring 10 of my friends to this restaurant. You're going to pay for everything. And some of them do it. And they compliment them and they do this. And you be like, I don't care what city you think you in or you of this city. I'm Ernest of the city. I'm Ernest in the city. Now what's?
There have been restaurants I've gone to. We've gone to.
Did y'all catch that? Who got that? Okay. Because I'm Ernest in the city. Before there was any sass in the city, there was Ernest in the city. I'm just saying.
Well, there have been restaurants that I've been to, we've been to collectively. I will, we'll go, we'll do the thing, whatever. The restaurant owner is so appreciative, which is great. A day later, they say my DMs got flooded by influencers that want free food now.
Yeah, and so what's weird is there's two things that will happen. Because I'm keeping it 100 tonight. A little too much. But, okay, one is that we will go, and we'll tip, we'll love, we'll show love, and then two things happen to these restaurants. They'll get an influx of people that will make reservations. They get booked. People will be like, say less, let me look at my calendar, I'm going to go. And we do feel that impact. The Oprah effect, the Ernest effect, the Lit Brother effect, the Lit effect. But it's real, right? And we have that. But then we also, the backside of it is that a bunch of influencers will think that, we weren't, doing our thing, right? And they'll go in, they'll get a DMs and be like, oh, I saw that you had these influencers, we want to go too, and can I get my dinner comp? And they're bugging them. And it's like, that's not what this is. And so we have seen that measurement, I'd be like, tell me who they are. Give me the names.
You want to hear something
Say
even
their
worse?
names.
Go ahead.
Some of them are also asking for money.
Yes.
They'll DM
So they're
saying,
asking
hey,
for free food.
Right.
Yeah.
They're asking to be paid. Like,
Right.
where they do that at? And mind you, these are not like massive chain restaurants, right? These are like small businesses, startups, and these are like black and brown owned restaurants that just got on their feet. And it's like they already can't even pay for PR, which is why people like us matter, because
Right,
we're
that's
the
why we
ones
went.
that's doing the PR, helping them get, some visibility. Or they're paying for PR, but that's all they can pay for. So they ain't got money to pay for 1,000 other people. And so you're shaking these businesses down. Like, it's terrible.
It is. And it's like, we just go because we want to support the community. That's what it's always been about for us. We'll go, we'll do the thing, we'll do a post. We're not getting paid to do that. And then these others are coming through saying, oh, I saw they were there. I want to come. By the way, that's going to cost you $300.
And what you think about it too, George?
Yeah, I think one of the things that people confuse a lot of times when they see follower count, they confuse that with influence.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2024, I know, Ernest, one of the things that you have talked a lot about. One of the things that you have talked a lot about is getting Black people in the room and getting diverse voices in a lot of these outlets. And I would hope in 2024, we've already seen in 2023 what having a diversity of voices can do. We see that Honeysuckle Provisions got one of the best new restaurants of the year, right?
Yep.
That was due to the influence I think that you had, but also Black food writers in the city.
Yeah.
So I think that I hope for 2024, we see more of that. We see more Black and brown restaurants get a lot of steam, and we can celebrate them.
The good ones.
The good ones.
The good ones, yeah.
Just saying. And then before we open up for Q&A from our lovely, lovely audience that's going to ask really mature, good questions. Last question for us. What's our one takeaway or task we're charging to the food scene? A thing that we want them to do better or to do, or, one piece of takeaway advice. My piece of advice that I would give to these restaurants is to stick with what you do well. Like, I know that sounds weird because Philadelphia always want to compete with New York and compete with these places. We got our own swag here. Philly has its own unique thing. I just feel like sometimes we're too responsive to what everybody's doing, not just in food, but everything. Like, hey, they're doing it over there in New York. Just do what you do well. I think the best restaurants I like in Philly are the restaurants who stay in their lane and do what they do well. Like, I like that. Like, I like the fact that, Jose Garza's just for the most part has a lot of Latin-focused restaurants. And that's his lane, and he loves it. And there's 1,000 ways to tell that culinary journey. And I think that's the thing, too. It's like, I want to say it's not like Italian. Like, Italians have found a way. They're like Northern Italian, Southern Italian. Like, they're going to give you different types of Italian food. But we don't do that in our culture sometimes, I think, in other cultures. And so what Jose Garza has done is he's found different ways to look into Spanish cuisine and Latinx cuisine and find these different intersections of it. And I think that's really good. So I would like to see certain restaurants not try to feel like they got to compete with trends, but really expand on what they do really, really well.
I agree with that, like 100%. I think, like I said, 2023, the best restaurants, we talk about Kalea and places like that, they found their voice and stayed in that lane and then made it excellent. I want to see more of that in 2024, and I want to see more diverse voices, more diverse talent, and more diverse restaurateurs this year.
Like, I love Greg Vernick, child. Greg Vernick is the best. Vernick Fish, Vernick Food and Drink, Vernick Coffee Bar. He just made good white food. I'm sorry, New American. But, he just stays in his lane. He's not trying to make a fusion. He just like, look, we doing steaks. We doing good seafood. We're doing, some cupcakes and some bakery. Like, he just knows what he does well. Like, he just stays there and just going to expand the new American cuisine.
Even Vetri went to his pizzeria.
Vetri, too.
Yeah,
Vetri stays in that lane. I get good pizza from Vetri. I get good Italian from Vetri. Vetri got all the good pizza on lock. That's to say Vetri stays there. Like, he knows what he's good at. Vetri and dough is just the perfect combination. Pasta and Vetri and dough and like, that's his lane. I love that. What piece of advice you got?
I don't really have any advice. I'm gonna do this part-time. But I would like to know what the hood got to say.
Yeah.
What y'all got to say?
Well, GO2.
Only thing I would add, I agree with all of you. One of the things that I've seen with restaurants is you mentioned earlier about having updated Instagram feeds. Restaurants, make sure you put your information of where you're located and the times you're open on your profiles. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a restaurant and it's been closed, or I've been excited to try something and I think they're losing customers. And I think that's such a small change they can make that would support them, not support them, but help them.
That's a really good point because a lot of restaurants, people are not going to websites as much. They do. Some restaurants have really good websites, some don't. But one thing is consistent is Instagram pages. And I feel like that's the place where, rather than put on them silly emojis, put your restaurant openings and closing times.
Yep.
Put a contact number so we can call and make a reservation. Put a link in bio so we can click on the link. Get a link tree. Get a link tree, y'all. Okay, put all your stuff so we can actually engage and get the information. Because you're right, there are some restaurants that they don't have a website, but you got an Instagram page, and I don't know your information like that. That's a really good point. Like,
really
update your information. Help us help you. So without further ado, questions, people in the audience. You can stand. Yeah, I don't know if there's mics being passed. Yeah, but this is fine. Yeah. Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah.
It's great. I have nothing negative to say about the BYOB scene, except corkage fees. Stop it. Cut it
No
out.
corkage fees.
We
yeah.
ain't doing no corkage fees unless it's like a really, but no corkage fees. If you're going to say BYOB, the whole idea to me is that it's a free experience. If you make me pay the corkage fee, then I might as well just buy the glass of wine. It's counterintuitive. And I don't know how many people got a bottle of Moet where they will drop $75 to open the Dom Perignon or whatever the case is. Like, no corkage fees. So,
Wait,
yeah.
it could be that much?
What you mean?
$75?
Some places will charge big dollars like that. At some of these nicer restaurants, they will charge that kind of corkage fee.
Oh, I'm gassed.
So I'm not crazy about corkage fees. So, but other than
That's
that, I love BYOBs. It is a very Philly thing, by the way. Because in all the cities
That's
I'm
what
at,
sets us
I
apart.
go to Texas.
You are right, because I've
sets
never
us
heard
apart.
we don't do
They don't do that in
BYOB
Houston.
like that
No.
in Houston.
But then again, the food be anyway. Drinks are very much the prices of drinks also are not very different there too. Like, I must say, happy hour ain't happy hour like it used to, baby. I remember happy hour used to be $5 drinks, cocktails. Remember that? $5. Back in the day. But inflation and all those things, so I'm not tripping. Now I'm just happy if the drink under $10. Like, if I go to happy hour and get a drink that's not just a sangria and a beer for under $10, I feel good. Next question. Press conference. Yes, you over there. We'll take it. This is not the mayor's administration. We do answer questions.
Ooh.
I do like her, though. No shade. I'm a journalist. I'm just
know how to
stating facts,
cocktail
but
people.
I do like the mayor. I do like her for now. Go ahead. That's true.
I got one.
Yeah. So the question is, what is Philly food that's not cheesesteaks, water rice, and soft pretzels? Which I agree with. Jamarcus, you got one
I
burning.
got one.
What's your Philly?
And nobody does Jamaican food like Philly. Like,
Really?
even in Houston, like, I went to a
He's
place
going
in
to the
Houston.
hood. He's
That's
going to
true.
the hood.
Yes.
He's
But
going to the hood.
I could not find a plate of Jamaican food comparable to the Jamaican food I can get here. Philly does that extremely well. And
Shocking.
it's so good. And African food, too.
African food.
food's
Yeah,
excellent.
African food, West Philly.
So to be clear, this is why food diversity matters. You're trying to figure out the restaurants that you've heard of. No, those restaurants, a lot of mainstream restaurants that do Jamaican food in Philly are trash. We're talking about the hood. I need it in a white silicone container. I want it dripping out. I need it to be
Yes.
stacked to the brim. Okay? I need 2 meals worth or
In the
3.
brown paper bag.
In the brown paper bag,
And
baby.
it's going to weigh about 10 pounds.
And the man is going to tell you he's not going to give you a time when it's ready either. So you better be there for 30, 45 minutes. But it's 2 meals. You looking like you got to, when you get in the car, you like, I did all that for $20? I did that for $15.
Yep.
That's highway robbery. Jamaican D's, shout out to them. Really good. Couple of really good spots that I really do like. Sunday's Best. If you go to that West Philly 52nd Street corridor, there's a nice little,
yes, God.
yes.
They right across the street from each other.
You know that. Which one? Which day? So I agree with that. Mine is, I'm going to be basic, but it's a good point. Italian food. Y'all do the Italian
food here
That's
is
a
very
Philly
good.
thing. Italian food is a Philly thing.
good.
Whether it's Northern Italian. I even, first of all, I'm from Texas. I didn't know nothing about no Northern and Southern. I thought it was all the same. But I've learned the difference between Northern, and Southern. Like there's different ones. Sicilian, listen. And all of them got their own identities. They've been able to find a way to make money, even in areas where they're in competition like South Philly. But I will say Italian food is a very Philly thing.
Yes.
I definitely would say that's Philly for me.
Yeah, I would say I'm venturing out of food. I think we have some of the best spirits in beer.
Distilleries, yeah.
Shout out to Blue Coat.
Shout out to Blue Coat. Shout out to Blue Coat. I put Blue Coat up against any other gin.
Absolutely.
I ask for it in any
It's the
city I'm
best-
in.
it's the best
So I
gin,
think that's
the
what we do
best.
really well.
Yeah.
Distillings and beer. I mean, with all the things going in this city, we need to have a good drink.
Well, and I'm going to add
Yes.
to that beer as well. Like the beer scene here is excellent. The distillery scene here is excellent. Like you could go to the area around Love City and pop to like 10 different breweries within walking distance. You can't do that in every single
No,
city.
you cannot.
I always say you ain't had no liquor till you been to Philly, okay? You ain't had no liquor till you been to Philly.
That's very
Yeah.
true. That's true.
the cocktails.
Oh yeah, it is. When they do
a
it
good
right,
cocktail city,
When they do
yeah.
it right, because sometimes some places be trying to get away with the hype, no liquor in it, and it just be a bunch of fuzzle and bubbles and
Be a bunch of bull.
For $24?
for $24. Oh, okay, we're gonna throw this shade. I'm not gonna name them, but there's a cheesesteak spot, brand new. You can taste it. Story time. No, I go. We went, and the cheesesteaks there is $24, $30. They got drinks that are $20,
Robbery.
$24. And then what's crazy is they have a happy hour that goes till 8:00 where it's half off the drinks. So you mean the drinks cost they cost the price they're supposed to cost, but you act like you're doing us a deal. That's all. Next question. Anyone have a question? Yes, I see a question. I see a hand. Okay. Where's Great Hot Chicken? And what's the other question? In Nashville.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not that
joking.
hot here.
I'm joking. And then what's the second question? That's right.
Same.
Right, that's a good one.
That's a really good.
Oh, that's good. So for hot chicken, I like Assad's.
Assad's is good.
Assad's is not playing. Assad's got some hot chicken. Assad's hot chicken. ASAD apostrophe S. Assad's. I would say that's the closest to hot chicken. I'm thinking if there's another place. Some of these places have come and gone. Nothing from Red Crest. No. Oh, I do like
Love and Honey.
Love and
fried
Honey.
chicken.
Love and Honey got a hot chicken.
Yeah, theirs is pretty
got
spicy.
a really good one. That one is
Yeah.
good too. That's a manageable one. That's one that, Assad's, you're going to have to go to the Northeast and stuff. I don't know if you want to go out there. But you could go out in little, cute little fish town, over there, right next to Philadelphia Distilling where Love and Honey is, and you can do pickup. They do, you can't eat inside anymore, but you can do delivery, you can do caviar, you can do all that. So they're pretty good. But yeah, those are my hot ones. Y'all have any other hot ones before we get into this tip controversy? Okay.
Let's
So
go to the
tip,
tea.
what's the tip? What's the tip? That's a good question. I really think it depends on how bad the service is. If you ask me what is sushi, you're going to get 15%.
Yeah. Yep.
Because my logic is, they say 15 an hour, 15%. Even though we all believe 25 an hour or more. But that's when you do good service. But I would say 15 and an actual tip on that receipt. A written tip. Sometimes a note goes far. I've put notes on the back of receipts before. I typically, if the service is really good, I actually put a compliment on the receipt and I sign it with a smiley face. But if the service is not good, I actually put a tip on it. And I put on the merchant copy. Because the other one they can throw away. The merchant copy, they have to actually process that to get their tip. So they have to technically read it. And I do leave a little note sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
A real tip. With a tip, but an actual tip too. With you?
Same. I think 15% if it's bad service. With that whole situation with the like, what is sushi? I mean, I think we were all like so stunned in the moment that we're like, what was that? And then he tried to save it at the end. It's like, oh, my manager told me y'all were VIPs, but he looked like so shaken up because he knew he messed up. And then it's like, well, I still don't have that much empathy because you still said it. And I'm like, how many other Black and brown people have you said that to?
You know, it gets like a routine. Like in their head, they know, they feel like there's certain people they got to educate about the things that they think we don't know and how infuriating that is and sumptuous that is. Like if I didn't ask, because if I don't know something, I ask. I have no problem being like, hey, what is this on the menu? But to assume it is kind of like.
And we were sitting near other tables. I did not hear him say that to any other table at the restaurant.
He was over there. It was somebody like that from the Jersey Shore and no one asked him questions. It was definitely two snookies at that table across from us.
You
and
saw them. They didn't know nothing.
It was
he
Pauly
asked them nothing.
You know.
No.
And they were picking the sushi up with their hands.
You
They wasn't even using chopsticks.
They wasn't even trying.
They were just like,
But no one asked them those questions.
No.
They just, did whatever.
Okay, so for me, if the service is bad, you get nothing. Okay, you get a tip. Don't walk down the dark alleys. But anyways, for very exceptional, great service, 20% minimum, could be more.
Yeah, minimum though.
Because if I'm out and I want to eat or whatever, I know what I'm paying for. Right. You know what I mean? 20% minimum.
And if the service is really bad, most restaurants will actually, if you do, voice your opinion about it and it is bad, they will cover it. My mother was big on that. Like if it was a very bad experience, she will let the restaurant know. And I think I learned how to be assertive from her about those things. In more ways than one. But
Capricorn energy.
Yeah, she's a Capricorn. And so it's like, let me talk to the manager, she would say. And I was like, what is that? And
because
that wasn't Karen behavior because the manager didn't need to be called. Let's be clear. Karen's is when the manager don't need to be called.
Because
being smart is when the manager needs to be called.
Because be real, we know what bad service. I know when I was working in food, I knew when I gave somebody bad service, I ain't give a damn. But and I knew when I gave somebody good service. You know what I mean? People know what they're doing. Right. You know how you acted. You know what you did with my food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like if you giving bad service, you get nothing.
And the difference too is that one thing I want to tell people to remember, and I think sometimes this gets lost. It's not if the food is not good, it's not the server's fault.
Exactly.
So I've seen people do that, and I just want to say that out loud because sometimes I will hear people on social media be like, "Oh, this bad. The food was bad, so that's why." When we're saying service, we're not talking about the food.
Right.
We're talking about the food service.
Exactly.
The people who served the food, how they treated you, not the food itself.
Exactly.
If the food is cold or whatever, that's a problem with the chef.
Exactly.
That's not the problem with the server. And so I've been to restaurants where I didn't like the food, but the server was so good. And so the server should not be penalized. So I just want to make that clear. Do not harm service workers if the chefs are bad. Just make sure that you could take it to Google Eats. Google reviews.
Exactly.
I'm a Google expert reviewer. I've reviewed hundreds of restaurants. And, and I'm very big on that. Like, if you have an issue with the food, note that.
Exactly.
But service is separate. Sometimes I do notice, I hear people say things like, oh, the food wasn't good, so I didn't tip. It's like, what the food got to do with the server? True. You're tipping the server, not the food.
Exactly.
And if you didn't like the food, you could tell them to take it back. You can make a note to the chef. You can make a note there. And if your server is responsive to that concern and work on that concern and do that, then that person should always be paid fairly and equitably for doing that job.
Exactly.
So I do think it's about the performance. I know people talk about the Emmys and the award shows where they're not really giving awards anymore for the performance anymore. It's just about everything else.
Right.
But here we do tip on the performance.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing
Exactly.
else. It's about the performance. So that's a really good question. Really? Last question. We got two more. Okay. Three more. Okay. Come up to the front a little bit if you can. Okay, wonderful. Good.
This is about the back of the house.
Then you good. Back of the house, cool.
So recently there's a restaurant not in Center City. I was going to go get some food.
Cool.
But they weren't open. They closed. And then every day they kept saying, we actually can't open. We can't open. And then we noticed that they had a bunch of health citations.
Oh.
And so I'm looking for y'all to, because restaurants are going to listen. for y'all to give them some feedback or some new standards or something. In general, for restaurants that they might be putting a show in the front of the house, but not going to get it.
Yikes.
We have heard some things about some restaurants we've gone to that has them problems.
Yes, we
And let me
have.
tell you like this. I don't play with living creatures that are not humans in the back of restaurants.
Talk about the order.
Yeah.
I a little slime in the machine, things happen chemically. It's just what it is. But when you start having rodents, one of my homegirls, she's here, Lauren, my good Drew Lauren, she talking about a restaurant in West Philly. She said, I was there. I was trying to support, do my thing. And it was little mouse, little Mickey Mouse was walking through. And then another friend told me that was not there. They saw Mighty Mouse. And I said, that's two different mice. So you can see, and it's getting Ratatouille might be next. So I was getting a little worried. And so, that is a thing. That is a thing. That and I have not been to that restaurant since. Yeah, we have not gone back.
No, I don't got
Because I don't got to be the third one to experience it. Because if I do it, baby, that's it. It's over. But that is a real thing. And I think what it requires is for people to say something. Let me tell y'all, social media, when you use it for good, you can make change.
Agree.
What do I know about that? I'm just saying. It's a change agent.
Yeah.
Let them know. Go on their Facebooks. Go on their Instagrams. Get in them DMs. Say something. Take pictures if you see things that are weird. Oh, they get better. I told my students, I'm a professor at a college, and they did not like the dining food there. And I said, well, if you don't like it, take a picture. Create an Instagram account about bad eating at your college and put all the bad food in and embarrass them. Sometimes shame works to make some changes. I want to know if there's I'm going to put an idea out here. I wonder if there's like a restaurant, an Instagram page that could be created that would just like take pictures of hazardous food issues at certain restaurants.
That's a good idea.
No. They would just go to these restaurants. They would take a picture of the food. They wouldn't identify themselves, and they would just take a picture of like
Anonymous
hazardous things
photos.
at restaurants.
People
and
can
like,
submit
and,
it.
and they can submit it, and people can submit like the shade room, but it'll be for restaurant health.
It's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
It really is.
That's a free idea for one of y'all.
I mean, for one of y'all, I'm not gonna say. I mean, I got too many other things I'm doing. I'm just throwing out free ideas.
I'm just not.
But
doing
I'm just saying that if you go out, because I do think a lot of people are in denial about those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that it'd be like, you got to let your consumers, because people can get sick. It's just, we playing
Exactly.
around here. Allergies and food. I've been fortunate not to get food poisoning. Thank God. But I'm also one of the people that do the little apple cider vinegar thing before I go to bed and do a little, cleanse. But like, that's, if you're not doing, you can get in trouble. All that food you eating and touching and moving, and I can't play around. So if I hear you got rodents, I'm done. I'm out. So, next question. Yes.
So I'd love to hear you all's thoughts on non-European cuisines versus ethnic cuisines and the way people perceive value. Because I feel as though a lot of ethnic cuisines actually take a lot of techniques, a lot of ingredients to prepare, but the expectation is that they should cost less. So I would just love to hear your thoughts on it.
That's a good question about ethnic cuisines costing more. Should they, people expect them to cost less and they require different ingredients. Look, by all means, set your prices, but don't be Tatiana. If you get the joke, you get the joke. Tatiana's in New York. It is a restaurant in New York City. I've been to it. Kwame's there. I'm not going to throw that shade. But I will say too much. But what I will say is that there are some restaurants that is doing the most, though. I'm going to talk about restaurants that should know their value, but there are some restaurants that I do feel like they treat their food like a niche to the point that they overexploit it in a way that they make it too niche, where it's like, come on. And I've been to a couple of places as a Black person and going to some restaurants that would do certain, like soul food in this city. There was some restaurants. Now, this one man, God rest his soul, R.I.P. Y'all know, if y'all Black, y'all know who I'm talking about, who got a restaurant in Philly, had some really great restaurants. But one thing that he would do, because his food was good, but one of the things he would do is he didn't have reservations. And I hate a restaurant that don't do reservations. Come on. Then when we would go, it was like $25 for 3 chicken wings.
Seriously?
And I would be like, in 2 sides. Now, I get you gotta, whatever. But like 3 chicken wings for $25.
What size was it?
Medium.
Child.
They weren't wingdings. They were wings though.
Okay.
But like sometimes I do think sometimes some people have exploited that. But to be real, there have been some people that have definitely under, you know, because I'm seeing all these little niche little spots and they make their money, these little niche little spots. I think that Honeysuckle Provisions has maximized what they know what the value of their food. They know what their food is. They know their audience. Sometimes some people in the table might think the price is a little extreme. The dollar hoagie ain't $1, even though they say it's $1 hoagie, but it's not $1. But, you know, given the hype and attention they get, I get it. Sometimes some of these places can be a little extreme, but I do agree to a certain point that the people that are expecting it to be less because of a certain culture, that's just racism, and I don't know how to prescribe that other than don't be racist. I just don't know like what you're talking about. If you go into a restaurant that's serving like full course meals and they're putting some real work in, it ain't no little finger chips and shit, then you should expect to pay something of substance. And I think there are many small plate restaurants out here that's charging an arm and a leg and nobody's blinking. Like small plates, but big prices. Yeah, I think that we should be pushing back at some of that. But I think it's about the restaurants, especially Black and brown restaurants, knowing their value and sticking with it. Because the truth of the matter is, community, when they like the food, they'll show up. Because we're showing up at everybody else's restaurants.
Yes, we are.
If I can spend, you know, $85 for a steak at one restaurant, then why would I not spend $60, $70 for a real full course menu at a really decent, you know, Black-owned restaurant or a Spanish restaurant, whatever.
Exactly.
Like, I will do that. And so I think that that's the reality, is that people just need to trust on that, stand firm on what they do, and stand by it. Now, Tatiana in New York, that's just overpriced. But the food is good. We did like it. But it's like, some of that's a little too much. But what I will say overall, though, is that I can appreciate that that's somebody that really is into their hype, sometimes a little too much, but at least they are like standing by it and people are showing up and they do have reservations, even if the reservations are always booked.
Yeah, I would add to that. I think the media has a big role in pushing forward the stories of Black and brown restaurants and their chefs. I mentioned earlier that we've seen a lot of change when we have journalists who focus on our stories. And I think that's how you change the narrative around these European-centric restaurants, because I've been to quite a few and whose food isn't good and it's a high price tag. But I even look at like Prime Fusion Lounge. I think their prices are pretty good, but you can tell they're cooking it for hours and they put a lot of love and care into it. And I know like when Josh posted the reel, when we all went there, they said that their reservations were all booked for weeks. And so I think that shows like what the power of media is and influence is and supporting the Black-owned businesses in that way too.
Yeah. I just wanted to add to that. I feel like Philly, we're getting better as a city. So you've got Prime Fusion Lounge, you got South Jazz Kitchen that is doing a premium product at a premium price.
They're the best.
And then you also have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is Black owned.
Yeah.
Very premium product, very premium price. And then even you have like Cantina La Martina that's getting like James Beard Awards. You've got El Chingon and all of these really good Black and brown owned restaurants that are getting their honor, getting their recognition, and, you know, charging the price that they deserve. Could we do more? Absolutely. You know, I think there should be so many more premium options because people within our community have money. Like I get the DMs all the time. Where's a nice place that's Black owned to take a date, to take someone for a special occasion or an anniversary? So we need more of that, you know, in the city. And even people that are, you know, white or European want to also go to our businesses and our restaurants. So we need to create the spaces for it. And I think that
And eat the food that the spice is supposed to be at. Stop telling them to change it.
Yeah, that's true
Sorry.
too.
Clock that
That's
T.
true. But it's like, I think 2024 is the year of that. Like, I'm hoping we do see more of that. You know, more restaurants opening that are, you know, accommodating and creating spaces that are more premium, you know, within our communities.
And our last question back here. Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. So I didn't go out to any restaurants this go around because everything I went to was just catered. So fancy. But I will say I did get to sneak around and get some street tacos that were so cheap, but better than any taco I had in Philly. I will say that the tacos that I had in LA just reminded me of that there is quality. You know, I didn't do the In-N-Out. In-N-Out is overrated, baby. Five Guys, Team Five Guys. That's just where I'm at with it. I'm Team Five Guys. The what is it? In-N-Out. I'm out and not in. But I do, and don't bring it to Philly. Please don't. They have them in Houston, which is a mess. They're expanding. We need to bring Whataburger to Philly. Okay, get rid of Checkers and bring Whataburger to Philly. You don't want them to? They're gonna ruin it.
They're going to ruin it like they did Popeyes.
Like they did Raising Cane's.
Clock that T.
Ooh.
Soggy tenders.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Soggy tenders.
They did ruin Five Guys here in Philly. They definitely did. But I will say, Arby's? No, it's Arby's.
They can have Arby's.
Justice for Arby's. I used to like Arby's back in the day. Leave them alone. But no, mostly it was tacos. I mostly did tacos, street tacos, food that was just in the area in that, and that was so affordable. And you know what I also like about Cali and the stuff? You know, guac, all that. You know, they just give you that.
Ooh.
They just put it in a little container. I was like, wait, this feel like
It's
theft.
not $15.
I didn't order guac. No, they just, because they got all that just there. So that was the one thing I like, all they salsas, all they fresh, other sides, that just came with it. And also, too, I like that I went to a spot and they gave you chips and salsa without having to pay extra. That's another problem I have in Philly restaurants with this man. The chips and dips is now a side.
And the salsa was good.
And
right?
the salsa was the
It
bomb.
wasn't just chopped up tomatoes and onions with some lemon juice on it.
No, it was a real salsa.
Okay.
No, but you're right. And that's the thing, like, that's one thing I say about Cali. Like, they, in Miami, Texas, like, they came with chips and salsa on the table. They do it like bread. Nowadays, the Philly, they want to nickel and dime you. Bread is a side dish. Parker rolls. All of these different rolls. You got to pay for that. You got to pay for the bread. You got to pay for chips and salsa. Everything is a charge. And so I did say that was one thing that I did appreciate about LA when I went, was just the hospitality of that reality and just how authentic it was and things. So that was my highlight. But that concludes this special edition episode. We're gonna go back to the bar and the food and take pictures. I know y'all want to take selfies with us, and we'll take it with you. But it's always a great time. And as always, be well and be best. Thank you.
All right.
Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.